Welcome to the Parks meeting. Call to order is official. How about the roll call, Alan?
Okay, Ghost,
Yes, sir. Here.
Martin,
Here.
two out of two. And
Okay.
Cindy Cooper is a guest.
All right. Thanks for attending, Cindy.
And maybe Paul Holler is a guest. I see his name.
I was going to say his name is up there too.
Okay. Yeah, I just see that now. Welcome, Paul. Okay. How about the minutes for the last meeting? Alan, do you have those available? Ready to go? Anybody?
Yeah, I sent them out to everybody and and they were on the thing. So June put them on the web.
To approve.
Yep. Motion by Dave.
Yeah.
I'll second.
And just for the record, that was for the last meeting or last two for 10/5 for October and December.
Yeah, I believe it was the last two meetings. Yes.
Okay, great. Go second. So all Ghost
Yes.
and Martin.
Yes.
Great. Unanimous.
Thank you. Okay. I'd like to go straight to the visitors at this particular point in time. I see Paul's there, and I actually see another fellow there, Mr. Justin Wood.
Hello.
Hi there. Paul, do you have something for us that you want to add tonight?
No, thank you.
Okay. Justin, the floor is yours. Go ahead.
I do not have anything to add at this time. I'm just going to be observing, and I'll be primarily interested in the 7:30 proceeding.
I'm sorry, I missed that. You went out on me there.
I'm generally here for the 7:30 proceedings. I'm going to be interviewing with the council at that time. And
Oh, right.
for
Sure.
observation.
Okay. All right. Well, thanks for attending. How about let's go to old business. Dave, do you have anything under old business you want to discuss?
No, not at this point.
Okay. I only had a couple of items. First, Alan, do you know the status of the county trail grant award? Is it official yet on that second one we were pursuing for about 50,000, I think?
Yeah, nothing official at this point. I was unable to get back with Zach. As soon as I hear something, I'll let you know. We were uncertain when the first meeting of the commissioners but it was our understanding that they were going to give the approvals of that at their next meeting.
Okay. And let's see, this is January 6th. See, I think their meeting is within a week or so, isn't it?
Yeah, I would assume they'd meet. They usually have a couple meetings each week, so I would assume they're gonna meet yet this week still.
Okay.
I will send an email to everybody as soon as I hear officially.
Okay.
But unofficially, they told us 54,000, and we've not heard anything to the contrary to that either.
So we don't have any reason to believe that it will change from that, hopefully, right?
Right.
Okay. All right, very good. The only other item I had to go over, I was just curious, Alan, wondering if I'd like to get some kind of a maintenance, overview from you, if anything's been going on from a parks perspective around town. Has Brad brought anything to you of importance that we should be aware of, or anything in particular going on out there?
Not really as it relates to parks or equipment or anything like that. From the best of our knowledge, the fitness equipment along GRE has weathered well. I do see individuals utilizing that equipment, which makes me feel good.
Yeah, we've always had positive feedback on that, right? I'm not aware of any problem.
No. We got some complaints and we taped it and made it, prohibited people from using it. We caught some guff there. We had difficulty keeping the tape, keep off tape on the equipment, but that's worked its way out okay. I think I'll make myself a note to contact the appropriate person at the health department, and obviously they've been consumed with far other issues, but it was their grant that we were able to purchase that equipment, and I think they were interested in follow up, and they were going to put some cameras up and things of that nature. So I might just kind of casually remind them that if there's anything that they need to do or we need to do to let them know about the utilization of that equipment. But I know they've got a lot of other issues on their mind right now.
Yeah. I think I remember, if I remember correctly, they had some suggestions for us once we installed it that we had to remedy, and then we took care of those accordingly, right?
Correct.
And that's all taken.
And then we also got some recommendations from our liability insurer,
Right.
the Ohio plan, and we worked through those issues with them as well. So as far as I know, we're all in compliance.
Okay, very good. The only other item I had pop up, Alan made me aware of it a week or so ago, I think. Maybe it's been 2 weeks, I don't know, time flies, but we had another request via email. I think it came through, didn't it, Alan, for maybe another memorial cemetery tree, right?
There was a request for a tree. They said somewhere in the village. They didn't necessarily specify the cemetery, nor did they specify who it was for or what their connection with Sunbury was. But so they gave just a preliminary inquiry. We gave them a kind of a very brief response saying, please provide the information that and they seem to be well aware of the magnolia tree planted in the cemetery. They said they'd like to spend around $200. So apparently they did their homework as well. And so
I did
hear back from them since we've responded.
Yeah, I had.
And then I think it would be appropriate for us to, to bounce that request off of the committee. The cemetery one worked out very well because there are indeed trees and space there to some degree, and there are, and the magnolia tree was conducive to the soil and the water and all the conditions. Where we get into some trouble is if somebody says they want to put something in GRE Park or Town Square or whatever, that's when it gets a little more difficult. So, that's why we wanted to put it back on them exactly where they wanted it. And if not, then I'd try to lead them back towards the cemetery if I could.
Yeah, and that's where it's at now. I had followed up to that, and I sent her an email as well and invited her to this meeting and to talk about what exactly they want to do and where they want to do it and why.
Right.
And
One of the things we've done in the past also, this was back when I was administrator, but we had people who wanted to do a tree. And what we actually ended up having them do was dedicate one of the picnic tables or a park bench for on the square. And there are a couple other parks that could use a picnic table or a park bench. So that might be another option to consider with them.
Yeah, good idea. If they come back to us, we need to put that on the table for them. And
Yeah.
The other thing we might want to consider formalizing kind of a tree donation policy or something, but it came upon us quickly, and the individuals from last year were well-intentioned and what have you, and they wound up, we basically got a $200 tree at cost and did not, charge an upcharge or anything, so that they paid $200 for really $200 worth of stuff, including the planting, the mulching, and everything. We might want to make it such that there's maybe $50 goes back into our fund for future trees or whatever. But it's almost so lowly priced that unless we're really just trying to get as many trees as we possibly can, but I don't know that we've got that much space. So I guess we might want to consider formalizing, you know, a $250 thing, a $500 thing, and a $1,000 thing, and maybe one's a bench, one's a picnic table, one's a tree, or something like that.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Speaking of picnic tables too, Brad and I and Tommy and I last year talked a little bit about what we thought was a success in 2020 with respect to putting more picnic tables out on the square for Serve and Firehouse and District 13 for there were a lot of opportunities to eat outside in 2020, and that may well continue. But if you look at those tables, two things have occurred. One, those tables are in really tough shape. I think they could be replaced and do us all be better served and probably a little lighter weight, easier to move and like. They certainly look better. We could position them a little differently. And those are literally 3/4 of the tables that were out at Freedom Park. And consequently, there's very few tables there. So we might want to put more tables there or something. But I guess I would maybe, if you guys think it's worth pursuing, maybe work up a proposal with maybe getting 4 or 5 more tables and putting them out on Town Square.
And those things run at least $1,000, don't they? The 1,000 to 2,000 for the nice steel heavy.
Oh yeah, no, they're not cheap.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Very good.
That's why I'm calling it a proposal.
Yeah.
Because that's, I mean, at the end of the day, that's exactly what the discussion on the parks is going to be, whether it's in grant money or what have you. You know, we've got limited funds, and what do you want to spend those limited funds on? So I think we could, I don't think we have to replace any picnic tables, but I do know that we, you know, those were way more utilized this year as a result of being in Town Square, given the pandemic circumstances, than they had ever been used in the past.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. The only other item I was thinking about, I thought I'd bring up, I kind of talked about it a couple of years ago, right before COVID arrived. But with regard to providing concession, what do you call them? Vending machines at maybe a park or two around town, and deriving some income off of that, maybe soliciting a contract from Pepsi or Coke. And I talked to Silas, the director over there in Powell for Parks, a couple of years ago about it, and it seems to work really well there. And it's really very low to no maintenance for the village itself, and you can derive anywhere from $2,000 to $4,000 a year of income. But obviously, we got to have kids out there and parents and friends at the fields. And so I just kind of shelved it for this past year due to COVID. But assuming things turn around here maybe in a few months with the vaccine here, I don't know, we'll kind of play it by ear, but I thought maybe I'd reach out to maybe both of the reps, obviously, and then see if there's a contract available that we could look at and consider moving forward, maybe for summer or fall if things, if the environment changes. But other than that, I don't know. How do you feel about that, Alan? Dave, any other comments?
I think that's a good concept. The devil's usually always in the details on those things. Generally, there's a set of provisions that both Coke and Pepsi, and as the big vendors, have with respect to access to electricity, some kind of roof or some kind of windbreak or something, so they're not just sitting there by themselves. So they're next to a building or contiguous to a shelter or something like that. And then where we have always had discussion in the past is if you put them like, say, at GRE or maybe even at Smith Park, you could indeed be vying with the concessions that those groups do. So you just have to, none of those are insurmountable, but it's just not quite as easy as it seems. There's a lot of details on that, but I think we could certainly make an overture to those companies, get a preliminary contract from them to see what their requirements are and fine tune the numbers and that kind of thing. And certainly look into it, and then deal with Brad with respect to access to utilities, electric and the like.
Yeah.
But we'd also have to look at the need for trash receptacles and recyclable receptacles.
Yeah.
And
Right.
we also may want to look at the ability to come up with something other than just soda pop, something that might actually be a little healthier. You never know.
Yeah, I agree. The
Well,
healthy.
actually, Coke and Pepsi sell more of those kinds of things now than pop now anyway, with Dasani water and juices and the like. But yeah, you're right.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Excellent. I was going to go ahead and do a recess and wait for Mr. Parkinson, and I think I will, but just briefly what he's going to come in and talk about is the two grants. One was for February 1 and June 1 deadlines through ODNR for this year. I've sort of been, as I understand it, and talking to Dave, combined into one deadline date, which is the middle of March. So it kind of gives CT a little more time if we want him to pursue this. There is federal oversight, and which requires some more hoops for him and CT to jump through. But a couple of filings have already been made, and if we pursue it, we'd have to have that in by March 15th. There's about $150,000 available, up to I think Dave mentioned if we target the reservoir trail, because this is a trail targeted grant application, we may be able to get I think 150,000 is the total cost estimated for putting a trail out there around the reservoir. We may be able to get all but 40,000, which would leave just 40,000 of exposure for the village. But at any rate, those are just the kind of high level details. I think I want to go ahead and propose a recess and wait for Dave P to come back. He said around 7 p.m.
Can I ask you a question before we recess?
Sure.
Did you talk to Kathy about the availability of funds for matching on that grant? Because I thought it was pretty sizable. Or was that a different grant we were talking about?
Yeah, I did have a conversation with Alan and Kathy, and due to budgeting constraints, we decided not to pursue the real big one for November.
Okay, all right. So that was a different grant then.
Yeah, this is different.
Okay.
This is
But this one still is a 92-page form to fill out. I don't think it's quite as intimidating as it might 92 pages is, and that you can literally apply for 2 grants with this one document, and some pages are used for one of the grants and some are for the other, but it's still way more, I don't know, it's certainly more intimidating looking than the ones we filled out for the county and preservation parks last year.
Yeah.
So, and we understand, if you saw Dave Parkinson's memo, that there's millions of dollars available, but there's many people looking for those millions of dollars. So it is a very competitive grant, and each grant has niches of what specifically what kind of projects would score higher than others. And that's where we need, I think, Dave to kind of let us know, A, what is it that he'd suggest we go for, and B, are either of our 2 priority projects going to score well in the scheme of things on a higher scale.
Yep, exactly. Okay, So with that, unless anyone has anything else right now, I'll propose a recess till 7 p.m.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.